still want you to be about a certain rules because you still want to them.
Which are, you said, your comment was, because my mama controlled me way before the government did. Which I thought was really funny.
Are there things that weren't on that list that you guys would have put on there if you could? I heard some people say school and their parents.
You can't do nothing in school.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if we were living in the Brave New World? We are members in the Society of the Brave New World. Which one would be on the top of our pyramid for Brave New World? And someone explain why government would be at the top.
Yeah, they brainwash you.
Okay. Now switch settings. Say we were on the Savage Reservation. Which one would be at the top of our pyramid? You say religion. Why do you say religion? Okay. Anybody see a different one at the top for the Savage Reservation?
It seems like it's more of a social economy.
Okay, explain.
Like, they run like we do. They run
like currently what we do.
Yeah, but
okay.
it's in a smaller group. It's in a smaller contained group. It's more like social beliefs, social norms, such like that. What we're used to, and that's what they continue because they didn't want to go by the government anymore. They want to go by themselves, and they became their own little community.
Okay.
And such as a community like the Quakers and stuff, like if you didn't go to church or something, you would be placed in the stockcodes or something and be thrown stuff at. Okay. Because it's more of a social group than maybe even religion. It's just more everybody together.
Okay. All right. So these factors we had you put in the priority pyramid. We're actually going to use a strategy called the compare and contrast. Has anybody tried that before? I don't know if you have, if it's been this in depth, because we're gonna try to dig really deep with the setting of this book because it's very important to think. So the 7 that you put in the pyramid, I'm gonna give you a handout, and we're gonna walk through one side. We're gonna do Brave New World together. Miss Alsop's gonna walk us through that, and then we're gonna let you take those same things and dig through the book for the Savage Reservation. Okay? Pass that out to y'all.
I already mentioned some of the things, so let's talk about the very first one. Controls, that is government and leaders. So in the Brave New World, what do they control?
Everything.
Everything. Let's be specific. Tell me an example.
People.
Your daily role.
Books.
Keep going.
Birthing.
They dictate whether you're smart or dumb.
Okay, so they dictate the social class that you're decanted into. All right, what are those classes? What's the top class? Alphas.
Beta.
Somebody knows the Greek alphabet? Delta and epsilons. Okay, so they dictate your social class, where you're born into. What else do they dictate?
They dictate
your job.
Like.
Okay. I'm going to continue with Josh and then get back to you. So, because they dictate your social class, that determines your job. Because the alphas are the smarties. They've got all the up here, so they're going to run the world. And then that goes all the way down to factory workers, street cleaners, epsilons, down to the low. So they dictate that. Back to you, Heather. What'd you say?
They dictate your birth.
They dictate birth. Tell me a little bit about the process.
They go by 4. They put you. You're born on a manufacturing I'm not even.
An assembly line.
Yeah, an assembly line. So.
All right. So they dictate birth.
They dictate your. They'll dictate your sex. They'll make sure the population's within control. They'll make sure that only 30% of the females can actually breed, so they can have more eggs to slice and dice and make all these twins.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Did you get all that, Chastity?
I got it all. We can watch it.
Okay. You get all that, Josh? Alright, so they dictate pretty much every aspect of life. The government controls your birth, As you'll find out later in the book, they control your death. And he does think he's different because he says when people think that I'm different, I feel like I need to act like I'm different.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think he believes in that stuff.
He does show signs, Lisa, and that's why he's a character that we're looking at, is that he doesn't.
Isn't that what they try to control so people don't start thinking?
Right, and he has started, we see a little bit of signs of that. And what about Lenina? Who's she dating there in the beginning? And what does her friend Fanny say to her?
That he has alcohol in his system.
That Bernard's small physically, because he should be more like Josh, he should be, or Mr. Calvin back there, he should be tall and strong and, you know, physically on top. And he's not, because they think they probably gave him a little too much alcohol. Alright? So they value the happiness, falling in line, not being an individual, going along with the system. That's all part of their values.
Which is all controlled.
Which is all controlled. And this, see, is how your themes, you know, they are interconnected. You know, one is kind of layered over the top of the other one. And so they all kind of work together. Now, let's, Heather, you mentioned previously about the games. Okay? So they condition them to not like nature. So how do they get them out there if they don't like to go? What did they create?
Didn't it create like a little test? Like a shocking test or something?
That was the conditioning.
Treatment?
Yeah, that was the conditioning. So they create the games that can only be played in the country. Spell it that way. Now, Josh touched on something for our world. We do have social classes, right? It depends really on how you divide it up. But we do it a lot of times by economy. So we've got your rich, really we upper, middle, and lower, and you can subdivide that all you want to. You know, the upper middle and the lower middle. But we divide by social classes. What about here in Louisville? Do you know another way we have a social structure here in Louisville?
Not really.
I know because I didn't grow up here. And so when I moved here, there are distinct areas of Louisville, aren't there?
Yeah.
Like Fairdale.
And so where do you think rich people live in Louisville? Generally, people say out east. I don't even know where that is. I think it's outside the Watterson, which isn't my world. So, rich people live out east. Now, what goes on in the West End here? How would you classify that area of town? Some people are kind of worried about it. Well, out there. Then we got Portland stuck in there too. That's part of the West Side. So I don't know, but we divide here. School. What school you go to? Sometimes we ask that. So there's a lot of little ways, guys. So look on the other side of the paper, that right-hand column. That right-hand column, now your setting is switched to the Savage Reservation. Now, Ms. McFarland, last Friday went over with you, and you have notes on chapters 7 and 8. You might want to pull those out. Those might help you. You've got your book handy. So they're going to go in pairs. They find their own partner, or you're going to separate them? All right, find a partner. Start working on the right-hand side. Thinking Savage Reservation. But grab those notes out, that's going to help you the most. And let's get started.
That's the sacrifice.
Dancing and whipping?
Dancing and whipping was a sacrifice.
So would that be religion or?
That's their religion. Now think of norms as like, did they value family? Did the women have a certain role? Did the, you know, look at what
Who'd you date?
Yeah, everybody, there was sick. People got old. No, they didn't cut you off.
And otherwise, you know, on the computers they It's gonna be part of a ritual. You're on down the line with the snake. Okay, so that's a good idea. But what do they value there?
Did they have individual freedoms?
Look at what you put on the other side, like you said. So do they value happiness on the Savage Reservation?
I don't think that's happiness.
Okay, so if they don't value happiness, they value religion. That's good. Absolutely. And the ritual with the snakes. Don't y'all have religion rituals? Is that?
Yeah. So they value.
Yeah, they value their religion, which includes some of the rituals. I'd probably put it down here, guys. With this one.